We're Mike and Bernie. We've dreamed for years of being able to travel in an RV and see our country. Follow along with us, our dog Winston, and our cat Bud as we chase our dreams. We're about to take a ride on a riverboat going down the Mississippi River in Hannibal, Missouri. So we're playing Mark Twain.
They tell us it only cost $51.5 million to build. Now further upstream is the old Wabash train and wagon bridge. It was built in 1871 at a cost of $1 million. And it is the second oldest structure to cross the upper Mississippi. And it is now operated by the Norfolk Southern Railway. As we pass back by the Hannibal waterfront, over to our right, the biggest thing on the riverfront today, the American Melody. They're in town until about 6 o'clock, then they'll be headed on downstream, concluding their trip from Minnesota down to St. Louis. The American Melody was built last year, actually, so it's only a little over a year old. It is 269 feet long, 56 feet wide. It is licensed at 5,400 gross ton and allowed to carry 175 overnight passengers. Now they have a crew of 43 on board to make the boat move and also to keep the customers happy. If you're interested in taking a cruise on the American Melody, go to AmericanCruiseLines.com and check out what they have to offer. Coming up on our left, we have this rusty old barge with a black tank on it. We call it an anchor barge. And that's because it's held in place by a very large chain, which you can see, which is attached to a 14,000-pound anchor stuck in the mud, and you can't see that. Now tied off to it is one loaded grain barge. It's waiting to go downstream, and it may sit here for a day, a week, or even longer, but eventually a towboat will come along to move it on downriver. The grain barge measures 195 feet long, 35 feet wide, 12 feet deep, and when fully loaded, like it is right now, it holds at least 52,000 bushels, or 1,500 ton of cargo. Mainline towboat on the river above St. Louis is allowed to push up to 15 of these loads at one time, 3 wide, 5 long, and when pushing 15 loads, they equal the capacity of a train, with 225 jumbo hopper cars. And that's a train that's around 2¼ miles long. Well, if you convert this into trucks and space them legally on the highway, that convoy of trucks is going to stretch over 35 miles in length, as it takes over 900 semi-trailers to fill 15 barges. Grain moved on the river is moved at a savings of over 50% of what it costs to go over land. Up ahead of us on the upper anchor barge, we've got one empty barge. I'm pretty sure that's going to be loaded with Portland cement tomorrow down at the Cotton Mill Cement Dock. Well, it seems that many years ago, we had 2 tribes of Indians that lived in the area. The Fox on the Missouri shore and the Illini over in Illinois. These nations of Indians were at war and would have probably annihilated each other had it not been for the big water that separated them. In the Fox tribe there was a beautiful Indian maiden, princess, daughter of the chief, who was known far and wide for her beauty. And each evening around sunset she would sit atop that ledge and watch the river go by. Well, one evening as she was seated up there, she saw a canoe put out from the Illinois shore. A young Illini brave who had heard of her beauty paddled across the big water and scaled that cliff just to be with her. Now they became friends, eventually lovers, and each evening at sundown would meet on that ledge. Finally, the chief of the Fox tribe, the young maiden's father, heard of their meetings, and he forbade his daughter from ever seeing the Illini brave again. For these nations of Indians were at war, and she had disgraced him in the eyes of his tribe by associating with the enemy. The young princess disobeyed her father. She snuck out of camp and continued to meet the brave atop that rock. One evening as she was leaving camp, the wise old chief just happened to spot her. He followed her to that ledge and found her in the arms of her lover, the brave he'd forbidden her to see. Well, this enraged the old gentleman so much, he pulled an arrow from his quiver. He placed it in his bow. He aimed directly at his only daughter's heart. The young brave, acting quickly, grabbed the young maiden in his arms. They ran to the edge of that ledge, took one last look, and they jumped. But as luck would have it, they landed atop a northbound Burlington freight train. They rode the train to Keokuk, Iowa, where they opened up trading posts. They made $1 million, had a dozen kids, and lived happily ever after. The view from atop Lover's Leap is spectacular. You can see for many miles. The road to get up there is very steep, but it's in good shape, and you are welcome to drive up if you wish. Another place you can see the river from on high is at Riverview Park, which is about a 2-mile drive from Orlando. Now there you'll find 3 overlooks where you can see the Mississippi from different angles. They also have playground equipment, picnic facilities, a lot of shade trees, and a statue of Mark Twain overlooking the mighty Mississippi. The 2 most often asked river-related questions that we get are, how deep is the water? And how wide is the river here at Hannibal? Well, back up behind us is the highway bridge. The river is about 3/8 of a mile across. This is one of the narrower sections of the river. That's why you see the bridges built there. Where we're at right now is closer to 1/2 mile wide, but it's hard to tell it because of the islands to our left. Depth sounder showing 37 feet of water beneath the boat. Now to our left, over by the island, today it's averaging about 10 feet deep. The further south you go, the deeper the water gets. By the time you're down to New Orleans, the river's over 100 feet deep. Now back in the days when Sam Clemens was a pilot, if they wanted or needed to know how deep the water was, they had a man called a leadsman who would stand on the bow of the boat or in a skiff ahead of the boat. And he would drop a weighted line or a pole into the water. And this line or pole was marked off every 6 feet. If they had 2 marks go in the water, he would holler to the pilot, Mark Twain. The pilot aboard the vessel then knew they had at least 12 feet of water to run through, and this was considered safe water for the boat. Sam Clemens was on the river for 4 years. First 2 years as an apprentice, the last 2 as the pilot in command. He did all of his steamboating between St. Louis and New Orleans. Along into the 4th year of his steamboat career, the Civil War got close to the Mississippi, and they started to shoot at the steamboats. Well, Sam Clemens was not particularly fond of being shot at, so he left the river, and he went on to do other things. He continued to write, and it was the fashion in those days to use a pen name or an alias. Well, he chose the river term that he'd learned while on the Mississippi, the term that means safe water. He chose the name Mark Twain. He used this name as he lectured in the United States and abroad, and also as he wrote the books for which he's now famous.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun, as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon, we lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass, we're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to make sure you enjoy more adventures and follow us along as we chase our dreams.